All right, today we have Omar Arif with ClaimDoc. Appreciate you making the time, Omar.
Of course, Gentry. How you doing today?
Doing fantastic, man. Fourth quarter, and obviously lots of opportunities to show people how we can help them with these large increases they're getting from their stop loss carriers and all of the administration pieces of it. Um, but again, appreciate you making the time. Excited to learn more about ClaimDoc and share with those that are going to watch this how ClaimDoc can help make their lives easier and better, as well as reduce their overall claims costs. So if we could just start, if you want to give kind of an introduction on yourself, Omar, and a brief history of ClaimDoc.
Sure, yeah. My name's Omar Arif. I'm the Senior Vice President of Growth for ClaimDoc. So I kind of have a unique, I call it like a dual role at ClaimDoc, where I am a sales guy, but then I also manage the sales team. So I'm like a player coach type. I've been with ClaimDoc now for 5.5 years, in the benefits industry for going on 17 years now. So I've been doing this pretty much my entire career. ClaimDoc as an organization is a cost containment firm. We primarily have one flagship product, which is a reference-based pricing type of program. We are based out of West Des Moines, Iowa, about 175 full-time employees, founder-led, no private equity, no outside investors, no debt. We are just sort of, I bill us as sort of the little engine that could in our market, because we compete against, not only very large insurance companies, but also some pretty big private equity backed ventures as well that are in our space. So yeah, our CEO still runs the company today. He started it out of his house in 2013, and he's grown it to what you see today. So
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad that you're having success. I know that you were telling me that you've had so much business, you've had to kind of put things on hold for the rest of the year, which is fantastic news for you and your team. So,
yeah,
if we could
yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, trust me, as a sales guy, we'd like to bring on more, but we have hit our implementation capacity, and we've been told that, we'd be jeopardizing our service model if we tried to bring in any new clients for the rest of the year. So that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, I think that's a wise decision. I mean, I've only known one other vendor in the 23 years that I've been doing this that ever put a cap on their business. And you see, especially in the TPA space, where these TPAs will grow so fast and their service model just falls apart. And so I think it's wisdom in the decision to, make sure that you guys are doing it right still for the client from the service levels, and not burning your people out, right? Because that's a huge part of any growth that occurs within our industry. So, um,
Absolutely.
the other thing I was going to ask you, Omar, I think a lot of the people that are going to be viewing this really don't understand what reference-based pricing means. Could you maybe just take a step back and share with us, what you've learned over your time at ClaimDoc, and obviously you have competitors out there, but if you could talk a little bit, number one, what reference-based pricing is, and then number two, what you feel like differentiates yourself from the rest of those other repricers out there.
Yeah. So I'll try to tackle all that in one bite. So reference-based pricing is a pricing mechanism to help self-funded employers pay more fair and reasonable rates for healthcare services. So basically, instead of paying the discount off of a hospital's retail price, which is what the PPO and the HMO markets do, you look at a couple bottom-up metrics, and so those are the references. Medicare is a common reference. Self-reported hospital cost is another common reference. So instead of paying top down, you pay bottom up, and it typically, a reference-based pricing program is going to save a client 25 to 35% versus the traditional PPO market. So that's what it is in a nutshell. There's a lot more nuance to it than that. But what separates ClaimDoc is there's a few things, but I'll just touch on a few. Number one, I already mentioned that we're founder led and completely family owned and privately held. And we function like a real boutique in the way we white glove service our clients. We have all the technology and resources of a large enterprise, but the look and feel of a mom and pop that's going to do right by their customer. So I think that's our biggest differentiator is that we also do everything you need to manage a reference-based pricing program under one roof. And so that doesn't mean we're just sitting back and repricing claims, because anybody can do that, but it's all of the services that you need to remove a PPO network and replace it with a reference-based pricing style plan. So that means provider relations in-house, member advocacy in-house, a clinical auditing team in-house, obviously the repricing services that we have to do, legal in-house. So we become a co-fiduciary to our plan sponsors, which means, we're not just another vendor to an employer. We are truly their partner legally. That's a big differentiator as well. And then the last thing that separates from some other reference-based pricing companies that are out there is our Pave the Way program, which you're familiar with because we have clients together. But it's our proactive provider outreach that we do for every new group we bring on the books. And I could talk for half an hour about Pave the Way, but basically in a nutshell, what it is think of it like we're building a custom network for every new group we bring on the books based on the providers in the community that your employees already see. And we do it just by a lot of hard work and a lot of outreach to those providers, just to educate them on who we are, what the program is about, let them know that we've got, XYZ company and, 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 people from that company that already come to see them. And we want to make sure that the provider is going to be accepting of our program. And 96% of the time they are accepting. So that Pave the Way program is a real separator.
We obviously have seen that with other clients that we work with together, and it's significant to pave the way and the disruption and the noise that can occur. So going back to how you talked about what reference-based pricing is, just for those that are listening today, when you have a plan that's self-funded, because I'm assuming you don't work with any plans that are fully insured, correct?
No.
When you have a plan that's self-funded, let's say that the plan, is using what we call an independent TPA, right? That isn't owned by one of the large insurance companies. What you guys do is basically replace the network. And it sounds like that you can actually do a couple of different things, both from a facility standpoint to a professional standpoint, and then also a dual option standpoint. Could you talk a little bit about some of those different options for employers that may be, self-funded with a TPA, but they're just renting one of the national networks?
Yeah. So that's the dual option strategy is another huge differentiator that we've really latched onto. Not that it's, proprietary to ClaimDoc, but basically what it is we can go to these employers and say, look, for those people that are worried about change, or maybe they're well paid and they're not worried about saving a little bit of money, they can buy up to the traditional PPO program and have a traditional plan. But for everybody else in your organization that would benefit greatly from having less money coming out of their paycheck, maybe even having lower deductibles and out of pockets, let's give them the ClaimDoc plan. And so it's an easier sell for you and I both, Gentry. So if you took me into a client 5 years ago, I would have had to convince their decision makers and their HR team that, hey, it's going to be okay. We're going to move everybody from Blue Cross onto this plan. Well, now we don't have to do that. We can say, okay, if you want a national PPO network, great. We can let that be the buy-up plan. And for everybody else that can barely afford the premiums, much less the $6,000 deductibles they're on, let's give them a break and make this a win for everybody. So that's been a real growth strategy for us as an organization. It's just kind of like a stair stepper type of way into doing reference-based pricing, because when an employer sees the impact we have from a financial perspective, then down the road in years 2 and 3, if it's going well, they can start to look at ways to transition their PPO members as well.